Hey friends, it's Nikki here with Stillwater's Wreath Designs. Let's make a super cute and easy DIY St. Patrick's Day door hanger. Here's a quick review of the supplies that you'll need. Nearly everything came from the Dollar Tree, except for the decorative paper. It did come from Amazon. I'll link all of the supplies that you'll need in the description below. The first thing we need to do is to Mod Podge the decorative paper onto our wooden shamrock cutouts. You can grab any St. Patrick's Day themed or green themed wrapping paper. I'm just going to lay the wooden cutout on top of the paper, mark each edge so that I can cut out a square of the decorative paper and get that applied. Let's go ahead and get it marked and get the paper cut out. Go ahead and grab a narrow foam brush and your Mod Podge so that we can apply the decorative paper to our wooden cutouts. You'll want to add a pretty generous layer of Mod Podge covering the entire wooden cutout of your shamrock. You should probably lay some paper or some protective cardboard underneath this. I ended up making a bit of a mess that I had to clean up later. At any rate, get your Mod Podge painted on with your foam brush, making sure you reach the edges with a pretty generous amount. Once you get your wooden cutout completely covered in Mod Podge, go ahead and lay the first square of decorative paper right on top of that shamrock. Make sure you use your hands to really press out that paper, starting at the center and working your way to the edges. And then once you complete that, go ahead and flip your cutout upside down so that the weight of the cutout is pressing down on the paper. Give it some pushes and push it off to the side for some dry time. Once you complete the first decorative cutout, go ahead and grab your second decorative cutout and your second sheet of paper, paint on that Mod Podge, adhere it down, and push it off to the side to dry. Once you've given your cutout several hours to dry, go ahead and grab your self-healing mat and an Xacto knife or a good pair of scissors so that we can trim the excess paper off of the cutout. So placing it upside down on top of your self-healing mat, go ahead and grab your scissors or Xacto knife and get ready to trim off the extra paper. Using one hand to steady your cutout, press down firmly onto your self-healing mat and then carefully use your Xacto knife to simply trace around the wooden cutout onto the paper so that we can cut away all of that excess paper. Trace your way all the way around your cutouts so that we can get this paper off, and be sure to do it for both cutouts, and I'll meet you back here. Now that we've removed all the excess paper from our cutouts, it's time to grab your sanding block or a fine grain grit piece of sandpaper and just work your way quickly around the edges of your cutouts to soften up that paper excess bit for a smooth finish. Now we're going to grab that wooden dowel rod and basically we're going to snap that in half. I'm going to use some heavy duty bolt cutters that I have, but use whatever works for you, friends. Also, go ahead and plug in your glue gun and get your glue sticks ready. It's almost time to start gluing things together. I've grabbed a couple of plastic clothespins or chip clips that I had handy from the Dollar Tree. We'll use those to hold the dowel rods into the glue while it's drying. Let's go ahead and get that dowel rod cut in half so that we can start gluing. Okay, I've grabbed both of my wooden cutouts. They're totally dried, trimmed up, and ready to go. We've got our dowel rod snapped in half, and our glue gun is prepped and ready. So now we're going to flip over our wooden shamrocks. You'll see I have 3 in this picture. I actually ended up only using 2 because of the length. So disregard the fact that there are 3. Go ahead and turn them over, and we're going to start gluing those dowel rods down. You're going to take your dowel rod and place approximately half of it on the stem of one of the shamrocks, and the other half will be placed onto the top part of that bottom shamrock. I'm just going to put a generous amount of hot glue down onto the first wooden cutout. I'll lay the dowel rod into the hot glue for drying, and then we'll use a chip clip to secure it in place until it's had time to dry. Now it's time to add a generous amount of hot glue at the top of the next shamrock so that we can then secure the dowel rod into that area, which will connect the 2 shamrocks together. Make sure you give this about an hour of dry time until we move on to the next step. My apologies, friends. I didn't realize I was having a pause on my recording. So what I did at this point was I actually made a flat bow using the wired ribbon. They're about 8-inch long strips. I have 2 of 3 different varieties for a total of 6. I pinched them together in the middle so that it looked like a men's bow tie. I used some floral wire from the Dollar Tree to wrap around the bow tie and attach it to the dowel rod in the center. Once I did that, I hot glued on the foam decorative shamrock. We're nearing the end of our project, friends, so our last step is to grab 2 of these metal corrugated and wooden shamrock decorations from the Dollar Tree. We're going to take the first one and hot glue it directly to the top of the top shamrock for some overlap, and then we'll finish by adding the last shamrock to the bottom. To add this last shamrock, just add a generous amount of hot glue to the stem of your lower wooden shamrock and hot glue that corrugated metal shamrock directly to the stem. Here is our finished St. Patty's Day door hanger, friends. It's approximately 28 inches in length and 14 inches in width. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button, friends. Thanks for staying with me. Happy crafting.